Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Nordic Takedown podcast. My name is Jason the Captain Kirk, also known by some as Fun Daddy. You have to go back and listen to the first few episodes to get that one, but there we go. And I am here today with the one and only Viktor.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine.
All life treating you well?
Yeah, I mean, it's summer outside. The evenings are getting brighter.
Some holiday started as a teacher yet? Or?
I'm on my last days here, but it's close, real close.
Close. Good to hear. Yeah, cool. So we have got an episode for you all today, and you might have been able to see from the title that we're going to be talking about some of the upcoming new leaders and what decks we might think may be quite good in the next set meta. And just from the stuff that we've seen out there that other people have been theory crafting and putting together, and just having a conversation around all of that, because there's some pretty exciting stuff out there, and some of the testing I've done, these force decks and these new leaders could be pretty strong, maybe. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about, firstly, new leaders and the decks that you can build around the new leaders, some of the new leaders that are coming out, and then how can we how much support is there for the old guard, how much support is there for the meta decks, the big decks out there? Are we still going to be seeing that? Is Sabine's finally going to be put to her grave, or is she going to be fighting out with the full Mandalorian passion that we all know that she has? We'll see. Stay tuned and we will see. But until then, Viktor, how have you been? How have you been swimming?
So mainly testing now. A lot of the theory crafting stage has moved over to actual testing, mostly with proxies, obviously, at this point. We're in full swing with that. Got a bunch of decks that we're trying out at the moment. Testing new cards in old decks, testing old deck archetypes, going back to things that have been put on the shelf, so to speak, previously, and then obviously testing out some brand new stuff as well. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I haven't actually attended anything. I thought I'd go to the showdown this past weekend, but then things came up and it didn't happen.
Which one was that?
I did cast actually a showdown.
We stream. We also have that on our stream as well.
Yeah,
so
we cooperate. So there were, Late Night Gaming reached out. They had this local store showdown that they really wanted to stream because they sort of love that store. It's their local. But they wanted to play themselves, so they had some problems actually casting it. So they asked, and I had nothing to do. And they are like the northern Midwest. That's like Scandinavian country. So I thought, like, that's honorary Nordic takedown territory, right? So
absolutely.
So we did stream together with Late Night Gaming. We streamed the Madison in Milwaukee. Sorry, no, that's not what it's called. Yeah, Milwaukee. I think that
I have no idea about American geography.
Not that far from Chicago, but it's another state, and Madison is the capital, I think.
So it's in the northern part of North America.
Yeah, northwestern
United States.
Up there with Illinois, Milwaukee,
Ohio.
Idaho is further west, I think.
All the American listeners are just turning off.
They just laughing their heads off. But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
If you could educate us,
hmm,
please let us know.
yeah. I mean, I think we know about as much about American geography as they do about European geography, so it's a
Exactly.
wash.
By the way, but we're based in Sweden,
Not
not
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
No.
Just for those there, just for those of that are currently laughing at us right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, anyway, we streamed that, and that was a lot of fun. It was a little
Yeah.
bit different because it was a best of one tournament,
Yeah.
so that sort of made aggro a lot stronger. So there were lots of interesting aggro lists, but there were also some
Hmm.
interesting other things going on there. There was an Asarch deck
Yeah.
and other things that were streamed. I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah. But Asajj can be quite good actually. Like behind a good thing, Asajj was a good deck.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure,
Um,
it's fine.
I mean, yeah, it was, I know I struggled with a few decks against different decks against the Asajj one, because it can just explode, as well. But
Hmm.
I think it comes down to the thing that you had. I think you have the where people go towards the leaders that they know are good,
Mhm.
and so you don't. There's a whole load of stuff. I think even we're coming to 5 sets. There's a whole load of stuff that hasn't been even tested yet.
Sure. I do think
So,
though that mostly there are exceptions, but
mm,
mostly you can just in like theory you can just evaluate a lot of cards,
yeah,
and you can just look at them theoretically if they are worth it, so to speak. There are sometimes the case that it's hard to evaluate it. Like we can see that with
mm,
the Akbar. Like on paper, it might not really look strong enough,
yeah.
but then correctly assembled, it really turned out to be pretty good.
It could be really good,
Yeah.
and in a world without overwhelming barrage,
Mm,
it could be a very good deck.
exactly.
Unfortunately,
There is
you know,
overwhelming barrage.
yeah,
But anyway, I mean that there are abilities and cards that are hard to just in a vacuum evaluate. But I think like when you look at a leader like a Sarge and evaluate her ability, it doesn't really stack up to the tier one ones.
no, maybe, yeah,
And then
yeah,
sometimes you end up with something that on paper should be super strong. And also like in testing it might even feel super strong, but due to meta reasons and other things, it doesn't
it's
really
support,
get to that echelon.
yeah,
So something like Anakin from set 3 has been struggling to reach that very top echelon, even though everything's there. It's super
mhm,
strong in every way, and it has all the right things in it. It just struggles to compare to the very very top. Um,
mm,
so sometimes it's hard to evaluate for sure, but I think like mostly you can just look at a leader and say that well this ability isn't really worth it. It's not doing
no,
enough, or if
no.
it should flip earlier to be able to worth it or
Well,
something.
this point exactly we will return to, because we're talking about new leaders and some of the decks coming in. We can return to this point because we are in this space, and there's a really interesting space like
Mm.
where like I want to get my hands on the actual cards now, but I can't. So I'm just theory crafting and looking at stuff. But we have all the cards that we can play with. We know what the cards are, so we have so much more time now to get ready for that, right? So we're going to return to that, but we're going to stick to the schedule.
Mhm.
I'm learning this. We're going to stick to the schedule, and we'll come back to this subject when we do this. Um, my Spree life has been basically getting in a couple of games, now and then. I played last Thursday. Did I play last Thursday? I can't remember. No, I didn't. I couldn't play last Thursday, but I did play the week before, actually, which I didn't talk about. At the locals, we did a chaos meta. Is it chaos meta? Chaos Draft.
Chaos Draft is the thing, yeah.
Chaos Draft, yeah. So we did Shadows, Twilights, and Jump to Light Speed,
One of
um,
each.
with a draft. And I actually did. I came fourth in the evening, and
Nice.
everyone that did really well lost to a guy who managed to pull a wrecker. So there we go. um, but I felt really good about that. I played a what did I have? I had a Gar Saxon Red, which was really good because with Jump to Light Speed, there's a whole lot of upgrades.
Mm,
So it was quite a safe bet to go Gar Saxon.
yeah.
I think I went red anyway. Did I go green? Anyway, it was it was a long time ago. But then I've just basically kind of been in the back of my mind preparing for this, trying to get as much taste of different leaders, and trying most of the leaders at least once to see how we looking, how we're doing there as well. So that's kind of roughly what I've been doing. Apart from, plans are being put into place for future
Mm,
streaming events, which brings us smoothly into the next point. This weekend we are streaming.
we are indeed.
Victor,
And
you are taking the casting helm
again.
of this one again as well, but you're a pro. What can we say?
Well, no. But yeah,
Um,
we are actually getting to stream the Oslo PQ, which is super
yep,
cool. So we get 2 PQs this set that we got to stream.
yep,
And yeah, that's
yep.
nice.
This is a tabletop battle on Saturday. So if you're in the Oslo area, I think it's in Moss, which is
Yeah.
like about 40 minutes, half hour south of Oslo.
Yeah, it's not exactly Oslo out.
No, it's actually not too far over the border from Sweden, so it's not bad. It's about 3.5 hours away from Kvivda,
Mm.
couple of hours from Gothenburg actually, so it's not that far away. The community there is really nice. I had an amazing time at the last PQ there.
Mm.
And that was where we met Alan,
Yeah.
who brought the Anakin Blue deck, which got to the
Sorry, no,
final.
Obi-Wan.
Anakin Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan, thanks for the correction. The one that does like sand. The Obi-Wan Blue, which surprised everyone on that day. That's where we saw that. So could there be some more surprises this time? I think Matthias is going, and Jonathan, Piotr, from my area.
Jacob is coming as well.
Jacob's there. Jonah, of course, he's going to be there. He's representing the podcast there on our part. So it could really good one. Could be a 5-round for top 4 cut, maybe. So it could be a shorter stream, but if we can get 34 down there, then we can go for the 6-round top 8.
Top 8, yeah.
Going there. So but what have we got streaming lineup? Who have you got on the
We're
table?
bringing on, like, we've got our own crew, obviously. So it's me, Gustav, and Pontus running point on this one. So the 3 of us are going to helm the whole thing, but we've got some interesting guests. We do have Mark from Unlimited Power TCG in the UK. So he's joining in. He did a tremendous job with casting together with C Raptor for the RQ in Minneapolis.
Nice.
Yeah, he's really good. I really, and a super nice bloke. So he's joining me in the mid there somewhere, and we've got Loopy coming in again, doing like the finals or possibly even like some of the top cut. So he's getting up early to this one because he really enjoyed this himself last time, and Loopy is the guy to go to when you want streamed content. He's just such a fun and extremely talented caster.
I mean, Loopy has created a very big community of casters there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And it's not just what you see on cameras; it's things that happen in the back. It's things that we can only dream that we could
Yeah,
could do. And I feel we've done a good job, but he's just taken it to the next level.
isn't he? Yeah. So it's always great to have him on, and he was on the last Norwegian PQ with me, and he agreed to come on again. So I'm super happy for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure yet, but I hope to be able to bring some really far away guests in for the very first rounds. So, due to time
You
frame
could
issues,
not get further away
no,
than these
it'd be
guests.
literally the other side of the earth. I might have Australian guests joining me
Yeah.
in the form of some of the guys from the or one of the guys from the Baddest Batch, Clint might be coming in. They are famous for streaming some of the best Australian content right now, and
Mm.
some of their PQs and bigger tournaments have been streamed by the Baddest Batch. Really nice
Mm.
bloke as well, but it's not confirmed yet. Not 100%. He might
Yeah.
not be able to join us, but I hope so.
Maybe if anyone here is listening from Australia, you can put a bit of peer pressure on him to
Yeah,
get him involved.
yeah. I'd really enjoy that. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah, so if you know Clint, give him a text and say to clear his day on Saturday.
Mhm.
Well, clear a couple of hours at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, cool. And you've been doing another official, unofficial player rankings of the
Well, I
best
haven't
ranked
been
players in.
doing is as much
What's this point that you've written
because
down here?
because it's coming up. I'm holding off on it a little bit longer. I have started with it, but I can't finish it because the set 4 meta isn't done yet. But
Mm-hmm.
after this weekend, the Oslo PQ will be or the Moss PQ really will be the
Yep.
last big competitive tournament in the Nordic area, which means that I will officially start. Well, I mean, I've started already, but I will make
So you've officially,
update.
unofficially
The
started.
officially, unofficially starting the official, unofficial Nordic player rankings. So we will have another sort of meta wrap up
Yeah,
where we look at the standings and look how people performed in this meta, and it's quite interesting. It's very different from last meta, like set
yes,
3
yes,
meta, because of the patterns on what kind of tournaments people played in, and so we've got some really
yeah,
big movements in the rankings,
nice,
and it's
nice.
going to be interesting.
Yeah. Have you put aside a whole weekend for filming and everything this time? And
More or less, yeah.
I mean, the effort was absolutely impressive.
I mean, I'll have to keep
Um,
up the standards, right?
yeah, you do after that one in the Sabine video. Like,
Mm.
yeah, you really do have to do that. Other big events coming up. Obviously, there will be. We've got pre-releases and everything coming up. Manitor's going to be having one on the 5th of July, and then there's other ones happening around the country, around the Nordics, around the world, obviously. But the ones that we do know of, they are in the Hyperspace Lanes channel in our Discord. If those of you
Yeah,
who are interested there, will try
I
and do
think
what we
they're
can
all
to
the
make
same
sure the
weekend.
pre-releases are up. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all the same weekend, but whether it's a Saturday, Friday, Saturday,
exactly.
Sunday,
So,
Monday, because you can go on for the full day as well. So it's always, I do love pre-releases, like one of my favorite types of tournament, because everything's just so fresh and you open up the boxes and you just sniff the ink, and
yeah, yeah.
I need a moment.
Yeah. No, but so yeah, we've got on the 4th, the Friday, we will have Dragon Slayer in Stockholm, and then the 5th, the Saturday, will be a fair bunch of places. So you got Mind Station Gothenburg doing the Saturday. You got Spelkortsbutiken in Karlstad will do it that way weekend. Sorry, the Saturday, as well as
Mm,
Alpha Spel will do both Saturday and Sunday in Stockholm.
yeah.
So those are the ones that we have dates
And of
for.
course, Manitor, that I said, just
Yeah,
to keep on that list
yeah,
as well.
exactly. Yeah.
I know Player Tech It are they're
They
in
are
the middle of a
doing it.
shop.
Uh,
They're in the middle of moving their shop, so they're having to skip a pre-release, but they're going to be doing a sealed event with the pre-release
all right.
packs
Okay.
coming up that I saw today as well. So that's Player Ticket in Malmö, I think it was that shop down there as well. And I don't know what the results were, but I think Nexus Games had a PQ, not PQ, but a store showdown this last weekend as well
Mm,
in Vecqua.
that would make sense. Yeah.
As well, so they will likely, maybe they'll hopefully they'll have a pre-release going there as well, seeing as that'll be my new local
Mm,
come July
yeah.
as well. So yeah, there we go. And then the last big bit of news that we want to share with you is that the plans are very much in place and running along for the SWU Open 2025 at the Malmö Game Week. The venue is going to be, I think they're using Malmö Mässan, so it's a bigger venue. The event itself is going to be huge, but then the SWU Open sponsorship is bigger, and the prize support, I cannot officially say it, but it's going to be lovely. So if it's the last weekend in August, so already keep your eye out for the tickets. I can't say too much now already, but I will be casting locally, hopefully getting some other casters involved as well. No one else has fully decided yet, but I have decided that I'm actually going to be not playing, so people are safe. But I'm going to be casting.
Yeah.
Uh,
For some one way or another, Nordic Takedown will be casting this event. It is
yeah,
our inaugural. What would you call that?
yeah.
Second, like sophomore.
I
Go
have
at
no
this.
idea what you're talking about
This
right
is
now.
this is weird terminology. I'm
You're
not.
using some American
Yeah.
terminology
Yeah.
here as well, but this was the thing that really made us realize that
Mm,
we could do streaming pretty well. And so I will be there, and we'll be casting from the site as well, and we're setting that up. So yeah, book that one in if you're in Sweden, Copenhagen, like Denmark, anywhere in the Nordics, maybe Germany, coming over from the Baltics, etc., etc. This tournament is going to be pretty big, and the prize support is going to be exciting. So we will tell you more when we can, but consider this plugged.
yeah, and keep an eye out on our server as well, our Discord server, because we will have official threads there.
Yeah.
Marcus, the main TO of the event, is
Mm,
going to be using some of our like a sub forum on our server to
yeah.
sort of help people coordinate their travels there and use it to spread information and so on. So there will be an official thread, or what you call it, channel, you call it, in our Discord server for
Yep.
this event. So you can all keep your eyes open and get your information there.
Yep. Amazing. Cool. Well, with all that, should we move on? Or if we're going to do this officially, it's going to be Legen Handlinger.
Yeah,
If we're doing this in a proper meeting way, yeah.
as we do in this country.
as we do in the official was like board meeting kind of things. Let's leave that bit behind us and get to the meat of today and talk about what are the new leaders slash decks that we are most excited about coming into Legends of the Force. I've been just playing random decks myself that I found, um, picking up some other people's theory crafting, have a look, seeing what's going on there. And there's been some fun stuff coming out there, but I don't know, Victor, have you got any that you have been has caught your eye?
Yeah, I think like when you look at what people are testing out there in the wild, there seems to be a lot of people interested in both the new Kylo Ren leader as well as Mother
Yeah.
Talcin. I personally think that Mother Talcin has a lot of potential, while I'm not as impressed by Kylo Ren. I think that's a little bit of a one-trick pony that might not really be there, but I don't know. Maybe there is, and I'm just not seeing it. Mod Talcin, I think, could definitely be something. And those two seems to be together with maybe Obi-Wan. You see a fair bit of Obi-Wan around as well.
Mm.
I think that has some potential as well. So so but out
Yeah.
of the things that seem most popular, I'd say Mother Talcin is probably the one I have the most faith in. But those are not the ones that I initially gravitate to, though. I think that resource cheating is probably amongst the strongest things that you can have access to in this game. We see that cards that have been banned, suspended, has
Hmm.
often been in connection to resource cheating, such as Boba
Or
Fett
paying
Leader.
cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Boba Fett Leader, of course, and Triple Dark Raid. Both of those cards had resource cheating as one of their really main one
Hmm.
of their draws. So I think resource cheating is really strong in this game, and having it on your leader is probably the best way to go because then you know you have it. So I think that Morgan
Are
Elsbeth.
we talking Barris? Are we talking Barris Offee?
I'm talking Barris
Um,
Offit to some extent. I
yeah.
don't think she is as easy to get to work because she's
No.
a six flip, and six flip is has traditionally been problematic. It might be
Mm.
she's got pretty good stats. She's got a 4-7 stat line, so maybe. But I'm much
Hmm.
more interested in Morgan Elspeth there. I think Morgan Elspeth has a lot of potential. Her the way she can resource cheat is very competitive. I think it lines up with the way at least I think about deck building. So there might be something there. She flips up 5, which is good. She's got a decent stat line, the 3-6. It's not amazing, but it's fine. And then she's got that resource cheating. Like there can really be something there, I think.
Yeah, and especially if you're playing that yellow, that cunning package that does like a lot of cheap events or events anyways, and like if you add those aggro decks to get those events out either, or even those one drop events that you can just play for free with
Now
her
you're
stuff as
thinking
long
of
as you've got the force.
now you're thinking about Offie again.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm back on
oh,
Barris
you're
off
back
it.
on
Yeah.
Offie. Yeah, right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think
because I did test that one out, and it did allow me to do that a little bit more each time with the events in my hand.
yeah, I think there's something there with Offie, perhaps, but like where it really shines the resource cheating, I think, is
Mm.
with units, and if you can look into something like a fair amount of maybe raid or restore or overwhelm or probably ambush, then you can start ambushing
Yeah,
units for one cheaper. That's going to be good, you know.
yeah. So,
Uh,
which one were you talking? You're
Morgan
talking
Elspeth. I've been talking about
North.
Morgan
Yeah,
Elspeth. So being
yeah,
able to play ambush units at one cheaper is
yeah.
strong.
And I also have had a lot of fun with her as well.
Yeah, yeah.
With Morgan. So those ones, and that was really great, especially with I think I played a blue version
Hmm.
and had all the other witches, the
All
knights,
right. Yeah,
of
yeah.
course, the witches and stuff that were coming in and playing with -3, and it could get a pretty good board going actually
I think so. Yeah.
because you're going ahead of the curve again, aren't you? You're but isn't Morgan? Is she reliant on the Force again?
Not really at all. I mean,
What's the
she is a force unit, but she
yeah?
doesn't really need the force. You
But
can build it
you need the unit that attacked this phase,
on the leader
and you
side.
need to share the keyword.
So on the leader side, yeah. So
Yeah.
if you ambush a unit and then next turn, if it survives, so you can attack with it again next turn,
Hmm.
then you can
Yep.
ambush your next unit for one cheaper.
Yep.
But it doesn't. I mean, you don't have to do only one keyword. So
No.
hidden, for instance, if you play a hidden
Yep.
unit, it's
Hidden
going to stick
ambush.
around. It's going to
Yeah.
stick around, and then you use it again next turn. and then you can play your
Yeah.
next hidden unit for
Mm,
1
yeah.
cheaper.
And a
So
lot of the good
shielded,
hidden,
any keyword, any keyword.
yeah, and a lot of the good hidden units have a second keyword as well.
Exactly.
So you use kind of a chain reaction there
Exactly.
to go down there. So yeah,
It'll take a little bit of deck building. You have to be
yes,
working with it, and you have to tweak it right. But I think
yeah,
there's something there. She's villain green, which is
hmm
interesting. It could definitely do something. Then you can use something like timely intervention and give a unit ambush. So yeah, there's a couple of
yeah,
ways to run around things here.
a lot of potential to be
Mm.
really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Kylo Ren is one that I wrote down actually because that was really interesting because obviously it's all about that flip turn, and
Yeah.
I think it could be really good. But there was one upgrade that allows that's coming in this new set, and I can't remember what it's a cunning upgrade, and it's and means that you can't be exhausted by enemy card abilities.
Yeah, it's Kylo's
Um,
lightsaber, but is that
is
yellow?
that Kylo's lightsaber?
I don't think it's yellow though. Is it? And maybe it is.
No,
I think it's
there was
red.
another one. Maybe I played it with that one and something else, and it actually became a thing. Became quite strong.
Hmm.
And then there's another upgrade that allows you to attack
So
with the.
Kylo
No,
Ren's
that's sorry.
lightsaber,
I'm getting
if
two different
attached unit
things
is a
messed up.
force
Yes,
unit, it
Kylo's
claims this
lightsaber.
unit can't be exhausted by
Yeah,
enemy card abilities.
no, but it's the. Is it the jetpack? If you put a jetpack on, and that allows you to be.
The
I
jetpack just
am
gives him a shield for
the
the.
+1. So just trying to remember now which the this it was an out of aspect um upgrade,
Okay.
but it allowed him, it's an old one, and it allowed you to basically attack with the unit when you attach the upgrade.
Oh no, so that's
Um
snapshot reflexes.
that's the one.
That's from
Snap.
the first. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, I get snapshot and the jetpack
yeah.
mixed up
So
because I didn't really play those
I've
days
seen
then.
that in the Kylo builds, and that's really strong because then he gets to attack
Yeah,
at least once immediately.
yeah.
So I think that's
But
key
you've
to make him work.
but you've got to play that really control
Yeah.
but a really control build as well, because you want to be you're digging for the upgrades, you're
Mhm.
using the upgrades to dig for more cards, but then you need your plan for after Kylo because it is a Voltron after all, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it could be strong if you can plan it well, but again, it's the same thing, a Fell the Dragon.
Mm.
Or sorry, not Fell the Dragon. Rivals Fall.
Rivals Fall for
A
sure
lot
is
of
the problem, but there's so many ways to waste him.
yeah.
Like I've played against versions of this deck a lot, and I think I've not.
Mhm.
I think I might have lost once when they did get one of those snapshot reflexes to
Mhm.
go off on a hyper large build. But usually
Mhm.
by turn 7, when he gets to flip, he's dead.
Mhm.
Like a lot of decks will just finish this deck before he's even close to
Yeah.
flipping. Like he needs to run green to be able to ramp if he's gonna be able to
Yeah.
flip early enough to actually affect the game. And if that's the case, he's not gonna have as many draws, and then he's not gonna have as many attachments in the discard pile. I think I think this is the
Mm.
kind of leader that is a lot of fun to deck build, but it rarely surpasses Jank. I might be wrong
Yeah.
here, but I
Yeah.
have a hard time seeing this be meta.
Yeah. You've got to play around the removal if you can,
Yeah,
if it's going to work, and you've got to know when to ramp. Like you've got to have. I felt that I could ramp or build.
yeah. I just don't see it
Um.
working. Like it's
No.
gonna be a fun meme deck, but I don't see how
No.
this ever gets to be meta. Um, because it's very much a one trick pony that's happening very late in the game. and
Mm.
it's very easy to. All the rush decks will just win before that even happens,
Yeah.
and mid-range decks can just play around it, and control decks can just out control it. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess I see what you mean. It's kind of that place in the middle that it doesn't really know what it is.
I mean, it very much is doing one thing, but that
Yeah,
thing is
yeah, yeah,
super
yeah.
strong. It's, I mean,
But if you want to make, I'm saying if you want to make it meta,
mm,
that one thing isn't good enough, so you've got to make it
mm,
something else that is
yeah,
not, and it doesn't
exactly.
really know what that is
Yeah,
in order to hit those levels
right,
of that as well.
exactly.
So leaving that one behind, there's the other two exciting things of this set, which is the single aspect leaders.
Mm,
Darth Revan and Anakin
Skywalker.
Skywalker.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm super
uh,
excited about these two leaders. I think they're super fun.
which is so cool.
Yeah,
Like I was like, what is going to be the only heroic leader? And it's like picking Anakin, like flavor wise, is like okay, that's interesting. Like
yeah,
to be the only heroic one. Um, and
yeah.
I would have thought Anakin would be the first grey leader.
Yeah, yeah, but in a way he is though, because he's using the dark side events. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
so I think,
which is so cool.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I think that should, in theory, more than make up for the loss of a color. So
yeah,
if you can pull in villainous events from all four colors, that should definitely be. But obviously, you need to go in a slightly less unit based build. You
hmm,
need to utilize strong events, and so he's probably control or hard control, which I mean, yeah, I think there's something there, and it's certainly very interesting from a deck building position.
yeah,
I wouldn't surprised if one of these two leaders, Darth Revan or Anakin, is going to be, if not tier one, then at least very close to tier one.
hmm,
But I think they're on that sort of deck building edge, ledge, maybe even, that where you find something like Chancellor Pulp and to some extent Bosk. Like they do require some very specific things.
yeah,
So will it be as will you be able to make it strong like we've seen Bosk be, or will it be just outside of the reach like we've seen mostly Palpatine, Chancellor
yeah.
Palpatine be?
Hmm.
Time will tell.
Yeah, of course. But I think there's something to bring up here with these decks, and especially doing the out of aspect stuff,
Mm,
is the you need to use the force.
mhm,
And I've tested a couple of these ones out and a couple of different builds out, and it was if if I'm denied getting the force at the start,
mhm.
it's very difficult to get going.
Yeah, I bet.
By the time by the time I have got going, it's too late.
Right, right.
So with the force base is that when a friendly force unit attacks, you
Mhm,
gain the force. Yeah, that's great. But if you're up against a control deck or a deck that's going, okay, you're just going to knock out your small units that come
mm,
out. It was so difficult to even get that going, and then I'm just stuck with a handful of villainy cards that I can't use because I've got no force.
yeah. Now I think with Anakin, you're probably looking to go the rare blue base is probably the easiest way for him to work, because
Hmm.
with the new two drops, having a unit with four or more remaining HP should be easy enough most turns. So you should be able
Hmm.
to get it every turn. But then you're on a 25 HP base in a
Yeah.
control deck, or probably a control deck. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to get that working.
Yeah. But it's fun. I
Isn't it?
mean, yeah, yeah. Um, but is there anything that we see though as a like this has to be up in the meta somewhere?
Yeah, I I think Mother Talcin is definitely going to meta.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
going to be meta. There is almost certainly one version of Obi-Wan, the new Obi-Wan, that's going to be meta.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not 100%, but I do think it's going to be there. I am super interested if Kit Fisto and or Ava Chris could be there. Those
Hmm.
are the kinds of deck that is so hard to, like we talked about in earlier on in the episode. Um, it's really hard to evaluate these two. They might be good enough, but they might just be absolute rubbish as well. There
Hmm.
might be a Kit Fisto deck where he comes out on 5 and swings for, I don't know, 5. And if he's a 5/6 on 5, yeah, that's going to be strong.
Mm.
His ability is not nothing. If you attack with the Jedi unit this phase, deal 2 damage to unit. Like, he's got some really good countermeasures to
Hmm.
people that want to trade with his units might have a hard time staying on the board because he can do that
Yeah.
easily. So there's a potential in this unit, but it
Yeah.
might just be rubbish as well. It's so hard to tell. And then you've got Ava Chris, which is like, it's really hard to tell what this could be. Like,
Mm.
you could probably build a deck that could use the Force 3 times in one go. In one turn, and then she would flip on 6, and a 4/10 stat line on 6. That's pretty good. That's not nothing. And while the Force is with you, then she's going to be an 8/10. That's a really good stat line with Overwhelm. But can you get that though? If she's flipping on 7, is it good enough on 7? It's harder.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and on
Yeah.
8, it probably is not good enough. On 8, I don't really see it working if you can't flip until 8. So this is one of those that's really hard to tell with. I know there's people that's working on it, and some might get it work.
Yeah.
Yoda's working pretty well. Yoda's just getting stronger and stronger by the day. I think there might be a really, really strong deck, but that's for the next segment. But late flipping leaders might be a thing in this set.
Hmm.
There might be ways
Yeah.
to
But late
slow
flight
the game down.
leaders have to have a really strong leader ability.
Like, I don't think if you're not able to flip on 7 with Ava, you're not building it right. Like,
Yeah.
this deck should try to flip on 6, and if it fails that, it definitely needs to flip on 7. Like, if it can't flip on 7, you didn't build it right.
Okay. No, fair enough. This is actually one that I haven't looked at. I can see the potential, but I can see what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, she can get the Force, but she
Mm.
has one get the Force built into herself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you got one of those, and if you have a way to get the Force outside of her, which you should have, then she's
Oh
flipping
yeah.
on
Yeah.
7. So then you should be able to flip on 7 with it, but you probably want to try and get her to flip on 6.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe you could get her to flip even on like 6, 5.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you could do with this really.
No.
But if you could get her to flip on 5, she's a 4/10. And the next turn, when you get
Yeah.
the Force, she's an 8/10
Yeah.
with Overwhelm.
I mean, she's a finisher. She's a finisher. I think she's in that. I mean, I guess Chewbacca in the first set was meant to be a finisher because you bring it out, you block it, and then you finish it off with a buff Chewbacca.
Mm,
That kind of thing that you have something that's okay during the game, and then it comes out late and finishes off. This is an even bigger finisher
mm,
because even if it does come out and you haven't been able to ramp and you haven't been able to bring her out early,
mm.
you want to get to a place where you bring her out and you overwhelm and finish.
Right, yeah.
Um, and you push that last bit through because you're grinding out these games.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying here.
Mm.
That you 9 resources, you do have that chance, a really strong possible thing. You give yourself the force, you flip and you hit for 8
Right.
with overwhelm through a sentinel if you need to.
Exactly.
But what do you do to get there?
Right.
What do you
Exactly.
do? How do you get there?
Exactly. So I'm interested to see what people come up with for these two, for Kit
Yeah.
and Ava. Also, it doesn't hurt that I'm a huge fan of the High Republic era books. They've been amazing. So I would enjoy Ava Chris being meta a lot, but yeah,
Yeah.
from a purely fan
It's all
point of
good.
view.
It's all good. Yeah. Well, let's move into talking a little bit about the old guard
Mm,
and the old leaders, new cards. And I have to ask you this: is there any support to improve Sabine?
yeah.
Cool. Moving on.
I'm
Let's
not.
go into
I'm
this
not going to
because
go. I'm not going to go much deeper than that. I will
yeah,
say when the final spoilers released, the one thing that really made me interested in Sabine at that point was trying out Sabine Yellow with Quinlan Unit, and my
that
testing.
Quinlan unit, Quinlan and Asajj. Oh man,
Oh no, you don't play Zash in that deck. You have no
maybe
time. You
not,
don't
but
have
just
time
those
for a
two in
Zash.
general.
You just play
No, no, no.
Quinlan. What I thought was going to happen is you play Quinlan at 4 resources on flip turn, and then if they can't deal with him, then next turn you play a blaster on him and go 8 to base, and
Yep,
then you do it
yep, yep.
again, or you play um, surprise strike and go 9 to base. So that's really cool. But my testing is less than um, exciting. It does not really work the way I thought. Well, it works exactly the way I thought, but doesn't pan out the way I hoped. It
No.
turns out that it's very much what you said. You play him on 4, and they need to deal with him. Problem is, almost all, as far as I've been able to tell, basically all non-aggro decks have very efficient ways of dealing with him. So, you pay something
Yep.
for 4, they deal with it, and now you're on 5 resources, and the clock is ticking, and you're on a yellow Sabine, which needs to be even faster. So, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
don't think that's the way to go. He might have a home in maybe Quinlan Tarkin Town deck or something.
Mhm.
It's still when you get it to work, it's really strong. Like you do get to push a lot of damage with him, but it's just a little bit too easy to play around and to deal with it. So I'm not sure. Like if you hard play a Poe, that is going to be inefficient for most decks to deal with. But Quinlan unit, they can usually quite efficiently deal with.
Yeah, agreed. I think Adi Galia
Mm-hmm.
is a good one
All right.
for her. It's a two drop 2/4 when the opponent plays an event, deal 1 damage to that player's base.
Yep.
So it's more because obviously you're playing events to get rid of Sabine. Yeah, you've got that look on the face thinking, "Yep, he's found my secret."
No, it's not a
Uh,
secret. A lot of people have been playing with Adigalia. There's some upside to it, and there's some downside to it.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
non-rebel.
I mean, you're losing some rebel.
Yeah, yeah. So you're
So
losing a
you're
little bit of rebel synergy, but a 2/4 is really strong. It's got some upside. It's a 2-drop. It's definitely something that I think all Sabine players are testing with right now.
Yep, yep. Good. I'm looking forward to seeing what that could be then. If Sabine could be there, but interesting that people are also looking to come away from command as the other aspect, the ECL and stuff like that. That there could be other ways around that as well. But let's not there because I don't want to give away too many of your plans before the Galactic, in case anyone's trying to
Yeah,
really just go there to meet you.
I don't think I'm sitting on any secrets no one else has really found yet. I think
Yeah, cool.
it's pretty much common knowledge. But in my testing right now, the Quinlan unit has not been as promising as I hoped it would be, and I do think there's some really interesting things in Sabine Yellow, but probably Sabine ECL is going to remain the stronger version.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's leave Sabine there for now because we were quite obviously like I'm guessing we're going to be getting a Sabine update video at some
At
point
some point,
once
there's
you
definitely going to be
during,
follow up.
yeah.
Might not
Which
be this
would be really
meta,
good.
might be this
You know,
meta. Who knows?
yeah, but maybe mid legends or a little
Yeah,
bit towards
who
the
knows?
end of there where we can see what happened with that as well. But any other kind of other leaders that could be quite strong? You mentioned Yoda's getting stronger and stronger at the moment.
I think so.
Um,
I think
yeah,
people are been able to make him work better and better throughout set 4, and I think with set 5 there's a lot of interesting things going on there. So I do think that Yoda's probably one of those
yeah,
leaders that might see a resurgence. Uh,
yeah.
but I'm not as much looking at leaders at this point as I'm looking at just the sheer amount of strong cards in this set. I think this
Mm,
set has some of the best legendaries we've seen in a long while, and I think this
it's
set,
set one.
yeah, probably, or set 2 at least. Um, I I personally think set 2 is much stronger than people give it credit for.
Right.
I don't agree with the general assessment that it was a weak deck. Sorry, a weak set. I think that's a super strong set. I think people were disappointed with how terrible some of the legendaries was, but then there were
Yeah,
other legendaries that was really strong, and I
yeah,
just don't
yeah,
understand why people are so pissed. But that's another thing.
yeah.
This set has a lot of really strong legendaries, but the really big thing is the amount of really good core units that aren't
Mm,
super fancy, but they are filling slots in the resource, sort of in your in your sorry,
so
yeah, they're filling.
sideboard kind of or
Yeah, so I'm just missing a word here, but they're just filling up your slots. So they're 3 drops, they're 4 drops to make
yeah,
your curve. Sorry, your curve. They're
yeah,
just filling out that curve, and you are able to um, exchange the weaker parts in your curves for really strong ones, so that your curve is really full of
yeah,
really good
yeah,
stuff. So you've got super well statted units. You've got the cycle of 2 force for 2, that all colors seem to have gotten one, and most of those are really good. You got HK47, the droid in red black,
hmm
2-4 with a decent ability. You got Gungi in green, which is even a 2-5 force.
yeah. That's a
That
really strong,
that's very, very
and
good.
it's a Wookiee.
Yeah, and you got
Sorry.
Yaddle in blue, blue heroic.
Yeah,
Yaddle is really, really good. 2-4 with restore 1, and gives other Jedi units restore. So it's really good.
yeah.
Talsin's Assassin for 4 is a 4-4 statted, and we've seen a lot
Is
of
that the
those.
4/4 when played? Use the Force. Do -3,
Yeah,
-3.
yeah. So you've
Yeah,
got
that is a very good card.
very relevant ability on a very well statted unit, much like Kiadimundi, a 4-4 for 4 with a very relevant ability. So you've got
Mm,
cycles of these, like
yeah,
very relevant bread and butter cards. We
yeah.
got some new really good Sentinels. The Obi-Wan Sentinel, 3-5 for 3. Obviously, it's a conditional Sentinel, but it's going to be easy to learn on. You got Shuret, even better
Oh,
probably.
that is such a
That's a really good
annoying
card.
card. Oh my
Very
goodness,
good
I hate
card.
playing against that card.
It's a super good card. A
Yeah,
3-5 with Sentinel that's hard to kill because when you attack him, you get -2 in your power.
yeah.
So
You need to take the initiative just to kill him.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the annoying thing because against these force decks, as
Mhm.
soon as they attack with something, you can't kill him.
So we were talking about how it was a problem for Sabine that Addy, whatever her name is, the two,
Andy Gallia.
yeah, the 2/4 in heroic red, that
Yeah,
she's not a rebel. She's a force though, and you
yeah,
get so maybe you could switch it around and not play the rebel package and instead
yeah.
play something like Maskanata, and then you have
Mhm.
your fleet lieutenant for force units instead. So it's a 3/4 for 3. So it's 1 point of one
Mhm.
stat point better than fleet lieutenant, and it gets, when played, you may attack with a force unit. It gets +2 for this attack. So
Yeah. Which card? Which card was that? Sorry.
this is basic Maskanata. So it's basically a fleet lieutenant, but for
Oh,
force
okay.
cards instead.
Oh, the new there's the new Maz, isn't there?
The new
That's why
mass, yeah,
I'm.
the new mass. So there's a lot of utility cards that are just
Yeah,
fitting into curves very well, and that will enable a lot of interesting deck building for any leader. So
yeah,
any leader that's ever been interesting and good have got new cards to fill out that curve. Of course, the tribal leaders that just need a specific trait might not have got
no,
anything new. There's quite a few traits that aren't getting a lot. There hardly any rebels at all. So
yeah,
Leia, set one Leia won't be,
no.
getting any boosts.
Holdo and the
Mm, mm.
the
There are a few resistance cards. So Hodo gets
there's some,
some.
yeah, there is some as well. Holdo gets some, but not enough to make it strong.
I doubt it will
No,
ever be strong. But
no,
yeah.
exactly, yeah. I've been playing around with a Thrawn, a new Thrawn yellow, so a
Mm,
Thrawn set for yellow build,
mm,
because with that one you have legacy run,
yeah.
which is when defeated deal six deal
Mm.
six.
And you double tap that, you
Damage.
get 12.
Exactly, yeah. So like 3 of those in the deck, that is
Yeah. No, yeah.
36 damage, for
So,
example.
so then
But
you're looking at absolute synergies, and I think
yeah,
there's a few of those as well. Uh,
there's
but
yeah,
but mainly is the stat lines, like something like Knight
yeah,
Ren, 3 costed 4/4 in green villainous. Like I was super excited about playing Grievous unit in set 3. That's
yeah.
why I turned to Krennic in set 3.
Yeah, yeah,
And now you got 3 more to put in your deck, which
yeah,
is just vanilla 3/4 force. It's just going to be awesome in the Krennic deck. So you got something like, if you look at some really good stats with relevant abilities as well, you got Old Daka, a blue villainous 5 costed unit, a 6/6 for 5 with a relevant ability. She's Force Knight, so 4 straight. And when played,
mhm,
you may defeat a friendly knight unit not named Oldaka. Then you may play that unit from your discard pile for free. So you can double trigger or re trigger any knight units when played ability for free and clean out any damage on it. It's
yeah.
super strong. On a 6/6, like
6 for
that's
5. I mean, that's post stats.
that's post stats with a very not post strong ability, but a very strong ability.
Well, it's got a when played ability. Poe doesn't have a when played ability unless
Exactly,
you're
yeah.
giving
So
it
you need
ambush.
to Poe. You got to jump through some hoops, but still, Poe ability is just broken. um, Plo Koon,
Yep.
the new Plo Koon, a 6 costed 6/8, very good
Mhm.
stat line. Uh,
Yep. Yep.
Maybe not as relevant ability, but still, while the force is with you, this unit gains grit. It's going to be interesting still.
Mhm.
There's
Yep.
some
Really, really strong.
really good
New
stack
the
of
The
units.
Anakin unit, the new
Mm.
single blue Anakin unit,
And that's
which
a super relevant ability. Super
yeah,
relevant ability. I
yeah,
think a lot of people are going to see that as a challenge to make it so that you can double trigger it, and some decks will
mm,
be able to do that. But I don't think you need to. I think it's strong as it is. Just giving
yeah.
-3.
Because
to-
it's a big enough body and it gives
Yeah,
-3. I mean,
yeah,
Luke Skywalker is an insanely strong card. I mean, the
yeah,
fact that you can even give something -6
exactly.
is great. -3 -3 is good enough
It's
sometimes.
very good, very good. And
So it's he's filling that hole because we're nearing rotation.
Exactly, and also it's 6 costed, so before rotation, it's actually coming out the turn before Luke.
Yep.
So it's very good. And then you got
Yep.
some super strong cards, and these I know everyone knows. Like new Darth Vader unit, that's just bonkers. It's just absolute crap. And Kira really didn't need that kind of boost, but now she's got it, and that's really cool. New Yoda. I
Yeah.
think New Yoda is just absolutely bonkers. It's
Yeah.
8
Yeah, I
costed
agree.
though, so that's at least we got that. But you know, the when played of healing 5 for any deck that wants to go to 8, that's a very relevant ability. And then you get to use the when you use the force trigger as well, because you're using the force. So you may deal damage to a unit equal to twice the number of units you control. So it's like a double Akbar. It's just and it doesn't stick to just one lane. You use
Yeah.
all your
Yeah.
orbits. So it's really really strong. And that's a 5/9 body, so it's not a nothing. Kelleran Bick, that's just insane value. A 7/7 for 7 in and of itself is quite interesting. But then when played, search the top 7 cards of your deck for a unit, reveal it, and play it. It costs 3 less. Like, he brings out the 3 cost. He's basically a Vader with better stats, albeit no ambush, of course, but still,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
And
there's
then
some
lastly,
really
we
strong.
can't forget quite the Qui-Gon unit with the ambush when defeated.
I was super excited about that early, but in my testing, he doesn't. I mean, he needs to die to double. Like, if you look at something like Han Solo unit, who does basically the same thing, but stays around, you know.
Mhm.
Qui-Gon
Yeah, I mean
dies.
the 5 health is there, but
No, but he needs to die to double tap. You know,
yeah.
it's a when killed ability, a when defeated ability. So, you know, he's maybe a 2 for 1. Like, he's probably a 2 for 1, but he's more of an event that does 2 for 1 than he
Mhm.
is an actual unit that does 2 for 1. And there's so many 7 costed units that do 2 for 1 and stick around, like Han Solo 7 costed.
Yep.
Like that unit sticks around
Yeah, I
and
was
plays.
thinking Han
Yeah, you
Solo
know.
now, yeah.
So I don't think Qui-Gon is as strong as I initially thought.
Yeah. It needs overwhelm. I think
Yeah,
if it
that's
had
true.
overwhelm, it could have been
Mm,
really good because then you've got a good
mm,
Maul
right.
version,
But
as
again,
well.
Maul sticks around. If you got
Yeah.
a like, he sticks around for a long time if you got
Yeah.
underworld units out.
But is it a yeah? I don't know. I think there's more to that one if you want to use it because it gives a decision point for the opponent to say, well, if it does stick around,
Now you're throwing it into something where he dies.
you've learned to say, yeah,
You
but if you
suicide him
can
into
get him to
something.
stick around,
Yeah.
then they have to choose to kill him, trade into him, and then he kills something else again.
But of course they're
So I
gonna.
think,
Of course they're
uh,
gonna. Otherwise, you do it. So
yeah,
when you have
exactly.
a
But
3 for 1,
but then, but yeah, like I say, then it's a 3 for 1. If
mm,
it's not a 2 for 1, it's a 3 for 1.
yeah.
If you can get it to
If you can
stick
if you
around a
can
little
get
bit,
it to
yeah,
stick around, yeah.
and you can get lightsaber on it, you can boost it as well. So it's got the value either way. But I think you've got to build around it. You've got to build to use it. That's
Right.
got to be the big thing. That's an advantage for the deck you're building. But there's better cards
Exactly. I
in
think
that thing.
there's so
Yeah.
many good
But
yellow
will there
7
be
cards.
better cards? I'm speaking over you now. But
Yeah.
will there be better cards once the rotation happens? And we've still
100%.
got 2 sets to see,
Yeah.
but this
100%.
could be a stronger card come March.
Sure. Sure. Absolutely. Well, we used to know, right?
We don't, yeah, we don't know, but I feel like this could be something really good, and it actually could be there could be some other synergies there as well. I know I really
Mm.
like cunning as a thing as well, so I'm quite excited about that card.
Right. Right. So we talked a little bit about units, and a lot of units there are, but there are also some interesting events. I've picked out 2 events. Do you have any events that you are been eyeing?
Yeah, there's been some very interesting events that I've had. There is. You go first. I'm going to try and get exactly what
Yeah.
they called up, so I don't. I'm an arm my way through that one.
So I think I've seen a lot of people actually working around with as I have foreseen. And again, resource cheating is just super strong. I don't know if anything I've seen yet is absolutely competitive, but thrown 1 yellow into either
Yes.
double yellow or green, and then you play as I've foreseen, and you get a lot of discount. You get a lot of discount, so you can start playing 5 cost. You can play a 5 cost unit first turn, and since you're playing yellow, that could be Syndicate
Mm.
Lakis. It could be so your opponent drops like some like um, Battlefield Marine or something, and
Mhm.
then you just push Bosk unit into it, or Syndicate Lackeys turn one,
Yeah.
turn one before anything else. You just bam, and that's super
Yeah.
fun, obviously, or like Forloom. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's just it's got some really like the ceiling on this card is just
Yeah.
through the roof.
We need stuff that we can put stuff on the top of the deck with this card.
Yeah, and there are a few
There,
effects that I
there,
can
there,
do
there,
that.
there, there are in heroic.
In heroic, there are a few. Uh,
There's a few, but we need to. There'd be good if there was some other stuff there. But no, I thought exactly the same thing when I saw this. I was thinking, oh,
there are
Thrawn.
there are a few Thrawn decks that I've seen and tested a little bit
Yeah.
with, and they're fun
Yeah.
and they're more consistent than I first thought. But
Mm.
yeah, I don't know if it's there really, but it's a fun card to play around with, and I'm sure someone will break it in some way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then always two is actually a card I haven't heard people talk about it, but if you're playing like a late mid range or unit based control deck,
Hmm.
you will rarely have more than 2 units on the board at a time. And if you do, at least one of those are going to be really hurt, and you can use it first. So if you're building like a Modded Tolsin, or you're building, um, you know, maybe even a Kira deck or a Krennic deck or something, a 4 cost blue villainous event. Choose 2 friendly Sith units. If you do, give 2 shield tokens to each, give 2 experience tokens to each, and then defeat all other friendly units. So if you have no other friendly units, you just give double shield and 4
Yeah.
experience. So 4 shields, 4 experiences to your 2 units. That's pretty good.
I haven't seen this card.
I think this is a. I
I
think
mean,
this is sleep.
this is an insane card. This is a buffing board wipe that one's seriously. Oh my goodness!
Well, I
Yeah, I
mean, it
have not
doesn't
seen
defeat
this
your
card
enemy.
yet.
It
This
doesn't defeat enemy units. It defeats your units. So
the
it re-
friendly units.
so
Okay, yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
reduces your board size to 2 units, but that's not a very big ask. Like
I'm putting Val into that.
this is a card you play fairly late game, and it's
Yeah,
I think if you're
yeah.
playing against another control deck, this is going to make uh, some of your units stick. Like if you're
Hmm.
playing something like Kira or Krennic or maybe even Bosk, something that might struggle into hard control because it's
Yeah,
control itself and it's going over you. Well, this might help make those units stick and do
yeah,
more.
yeah.
Um, and it's not going to be very expensive for you at a later position in such a
No.
grindy game. But it's also going to be really good while you're trying to sort of stabilize. Uh, when you're actually using your units to hit your opponent a lot.
Mm,
Well, I mean, you get double shields on each of them, and they get buffed, double buffed, both of them. I think this
mm.
can be interesting. Like Wing Leader costs 3 and does this to 1 unit. This costs
Without the
4
shields.
and does more to 2 units.
Hmm.
I, I'm not sure, but there could be something there.
Yep, I can see this on a Thrawn 2 build.
Sure.
as well. If you
Sure.
put some Sith stuff in there, so you can trigger those when defeated
Hmm.
there as well. But then that's just where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
so I'm a bit distracted now. I can't remember the cards at all that I was going to look at, but let's have a look here but that card is just like really good. Um, where is that card that I was looking for? Because there was a very good uh, control card that you either use the force to defeat a unit or you defeat a unit with 3 or less.
Mm.
And it was on
Yeah,
a
it's a blue card, I think.
2 cost, 3 cost.
Use the force and do it at least.
That's the card that I'm looking for now.
Maybe it's not blue. I thought it was blue, but it might not be.
Um,
I
but
know
that
which one.
one,
Yeah, it's blue. It's Shatterpoint. Choose one. Defeat
that's
a non-leader unit with 3 or less remaining
a
HP.
4 cost as well.
Use the
Yeah.
force, lose the force token. If you do, defeat a non-leader unit.
Yeah, so it's kind of half. It's like half of a vigilance in some ways. No, not half of vigilance, but
Yeah.
your same cost, only one aspect and stuff. But the other card is Shane Flurry,
Yeah, that's going to be super strong.
which is I haven't had a disappointing play of that card yet.
No, it's going to be super strong in this meta. That force is going to be
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. So that's just something that is really nice. Um, they're the two that have stuck out for me with just the decks that I've been testing and getting excited about. But I'm not in the deep competitive testing phase that you are, because you're taking that flight over the pond
Sure.
next month.
Yep.
Is that what's the date of the Galactic again? That's
Late
end of
July.
late July, isn't it? Yeah.
20 something, 25
Yeah.
or something like that.
25th or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's exciting. Well, I think we should wrap this up. It's a little bit longer than we wanted to, but it's been a really good, just open conversation about just where we are with these decks, and which has been really fun. So we're going to leave you guys with that. If you're excited about a deck, we have a whole deck building thread channel or forum, I guess, type of channel it is, in our Discord server. So come and get involved in there, and we can get some deck conversations going if you want to. We've got 2 deck texts that have been up the last couple of days. Actually, Jonah's been really busy with those. One new Anakin, and one Anakin update from set 3, which is, I guess, the Nordic Takedown pet deck
I guess.
that we could call it as well. A couple of people have called it the Nordic Takedown Anakin deck, which we are grateful for. But it's a fun deck.
Sure.
But so they've done a little bit of an update for there as well with he kind of did a few got some guests in to use those as well. So they're on our channel, so go and get to them. Otherwise, see you Saturday, because Victor, you will see Victor Saturday with his long line of guests.
Yeah.
So tune in, and it will be really good to see you. Victor, any last words?
No, yes. I'll love to chat with you in the chat for the stream.
Awesome. For John and Prosper, no, that is not
the wrong podcast.
That is the wrong thing. Oh man,
Well,
that's
may the force be.
May the force be with you, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.